Witnesses of paranormal encounters have described many different types of hauntings. If you're one of them, you may have heard sounds like footsteps, knocks, or even voices. Or you may have even seen objects moving, white smoky figures, or shadows that float from room to room. So why does each type of paranormal entity have its own unique set of characteristics? Why does one present itself as a figure while an invisible one whispers in your ear? This supernatural realm provides so much mystery and intrigue that some people have dedicated their lives to answering those questions. Like a biologist studies and categorizes animal species, a parapsychologist explores the traits of paranormal entities. And if you've never been visited by one, you may very well soon. Here are 10 paranormal entities that may be haunting you right now. The apparition. If you're seeing a translucent or white smoky figure with human-like features, it's most likely an apparition. Even more specifically, a deceased loved one or a person with an emotional tie to the building. They generally mean you no harm unless, of course, you've wronged them in some way. These ghostly entities typically appear to convey messages, seek closure, or simply want to be seen. You'll experience noises or hear their voice, or even feel their touch. Hopefully they like you, because either way, they want to be close to you and make their presence known. Experts say that this type of ghost retains its former personality of when they were alive. They dress in period-specific clothing and can even feel emotions. So while any ghost sighting can be terrifying, if you speak softly and kindly to a friendly one, it can actually be a harmonious relationship. But if not, you might want to find a new place to live and hope that they don't follow you. The Ecto Mist. If you see a fog gathering in a specific area, you may be witnessing what paranormal investigators call an ecto mist, or ghostly mist. This vaporous cloud usually floats above the ground and might even circle you. If you're seeing this inside your home or an old historical building, it can present itself as a swirling funnel or maybe even a chilling cold spot. They've mostly been seen outdoors, so you may have seen one in an old cobblestone alley, a graveyard, or a historic battlefield. These ghostly encounters have been captured in many videos and photographs, and appear white, gray, or even black. As a defensive mechanism, you could dismiss it as a weather event, but these linger and move with a purpose. They've been described as more spooky than dangerous, so they might just be a loved one or a stranger with a strong tie to the area. The Poltergeist. One of the most popular terms for a ghost, the word poltergeist, actually means noisy ghost because it has the ability to knock things over, make noises, and even manipulate its physical environment. While an apparition might be more startling visually, a poltergeist can give you more of a jump scare with loud knocking sounds, slamming doors, or even glass objects shattering. If a poltergeist has made your home its home, they may have started small with a door cracking open or an object slightly shifting. Something that you could explain away. But this activity generally intensifies to aggressively moving large objects, like couches, starting small fires, or even physically pushing you to assert its dominance. Many people have reported unexplained scratches and bruises. If you're experiencing any of this, you probably find it hard to relax in your own home, since these loud, violent actions can occur at any moment. Orbs. Orbs can appear as a transparent or translucent ball of light that hovers or floats off like a small UFO. You may not even know that you're in its presence until you're surprised to see one in one of your pictures. They might seem easy to explain away as a glare, but on video, they appear in areas with no light and move as if they have a mind of their own, usually floating away from an object that's just moved on its own. If you've ever captured an orb on video, you were probably amazed to see how fast they move. And of all the possible hauntings, you'll be relieved to know that they're most likely the soul of a human or an animal who's just traveling from one place to another. Their circular shape is said to be the first state that they appear in before becoming a full-bodied apparition. Haunted or cursed objects. Some entities attach themselves to specific objects, and if you own one, it unfortunately means to bring you misfortune, personal tragedy, or even physical harm. The most common haunted objects are dolls like Annabelle, a Raggedy Ann doll said to be possessed by the spirit of a young girl. It inspired many horror movies and sits in an occult museum with a warning to never open its case. Another, a 1972 painting, The Hands Resist Him, by Bill Stoneham, has been blamed for the deaths of a gallery owner and its art critic. If you're in possession of a cursed item, get rid of it, no matter how much it's worth. The Hope Diamond, for example, was cursed after it was stolen from a Hindu god's statue. Many of its owners have died under mysterious circumstances, so even though it's worth upwards of $350 million, you wouldn't be around long enough to enjoy it. Elements, guardians of nature. These beings are the spirits or guardians of natural features like forests, rivers, mountains, and even specific trees. Much like a haunted object, spirits or entities inhabit them, but these spirits were most likely never human. Some experts think that they're the spiritual counterpart to the visible nature. They protect natural spaces and can take on various forms, from ethereal human-like figures to mythical creatures. Unless you frequently litter in forests or work for a fracking company, you most likely have nothing to worry about. But if you do find yourself in nature and do something potentially nefarious, these elementals could be deadly. Air elemental hauntings could give you a sudden impulse to jump off a cliff, a water elemental could drag you to its depths, and earth elementals could easily get you lost in a forest until you eventually starve. Demons. Demons are spiritual entities that never had a human form. They can present themselves as angelic beings who manipulate you to commit something heinous, but they most commonly appear as horrific, evil-looking beings. Some experts believe that demons don't have a physical appearance, but they take on different forms to scare you or lure you in. They might even take you as a form, since demons are most commonly associated with possessing people. If you were in their presence, there would be no mistaking it. You'd notice the revolting stench of rotting flesh in the air, and the room getting hot and humid. They're much stronger than human spirits, so you could be violently attacked or even thrown across the room. They have a hatred for mankind that dates back to the story of Lucifer and cannot be destroyed. So if you're possessed and lucky enough to have an exorcism, the demon would just move on to the next person. Shadow people or shadow creatures. Shadow people are a mysterious and unsettling type of entity that some think are ghosts, and others think are in their own paranormal category. They're often described as dark, shadowy figures with human silhouettes, but unlike apparitions, they lack distinct features or facial expressions. If you've seen them out of the corner of your eye, they've most likely disappeared or darted away when looked at directly. They often appear as fleeting, fast-moving shapes that move silently through rooms or down hallways. But just because you don't see them doesn't mean that they're not there. If you've ever felt like you're being watched or followed, a shadow person might be close behind you. And just before seeing one, you'd get the feeling of intense dread and an overwhelming sense of despair. Doppelgangers or ghostly twins. The term doppelganger is usually used for describing a complete stranger that looks like you, but the German word directly translates to double walker, originally meant to describe a ghost or shadow of yourself. Traditionally, these spectral duplicates are omens of misfortune or death, so encountering your true doppelganger would not be a good thing. It doesn't have to be you specifically either. If you came across the exact double of a friend or loved one who isn't a twin, something terrible might be happening to them in the near future. In many cases, you'd be unable to see your ghostly double sitting right beside you, but everyone else in the room would. Some experts believe that while monsters come from elsewhere, doppelgangers are monsters that come from within. Residual hauntings. Residual haunting activity occurs when something traumatic occurs in a specific place. You'd most commonly experience this in a house where tragedy struck or on the site of a past gruesome battlefield. Experts believe that the moment was so intense that negative energy is literally blasted into the atmosphere, causing the spirits of the deceased to imprint in that time and place. Then, like a video on loop, it will play the events over and over again for a very long time. Since many haunted house stories usually come with this backstory, you'll probably avoid places like this. But for the most part, the entities are probably unaware that you're even there. They're most likely living life in their own timeline and would have no interaction with you. As if the past is momentarily bleeding into the present, you may hear echoes of the conflict itself or someone crying as it happened. But that's it. If you enjoy these creepy videos, please give this a like and leave a comment. And if you'd like to watch more creepy videos, you can click the playlist on screen right now to watch more. And other than that, you can follow me on my socials. My links are in the description. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.